Good morning, students. We shall discuss about the modules and ports for today's discussion. Now, whenever we are going to design any digital hardware, all the digital hardware or the blocks will be designed or implemented in terms of modules in Verilog HDL as an RTL description. Then, what are the components that are generally associated with the module? Okay, so generally, whenever we are going to define any hardware block or any digital design circuit, which may be a sequential or a combinational circuit, we start with module. So, the module generally will be associated with a module name as well as a port list, like what will be the input ports as well as the output ports for the present module block. And sometimes if in our module or if in our digital block, if there are any different number of components may also be present and how they are connected, generally they will be connected with wires. So like for each and every wire also we have to use certain name in order to identify that particular wire, for which there will be variable declarations we need to use. And the internals of a module can be defined in any of the abstraction level, which may be a data flow or a behavioral or a structural abstractions. And in between, if the most commonly used functions or the most commonly used instruction, every time it is a time taking process to write all the instructions which is dedicated to particular functionality or a particular task, for which we cannot write the same number of instructions each and every time. So in order to avoid this, we use the task and functions. And after completing the definition of the digital block or a digital module, we terminate the programming with end module statement. So this is how generally the basic building block for any module will be. In this manner it is designed. That means here every module will start with a keyword, that is module, and followed with a port list or a sensitivity list. And during this time I may declare what are the input ports and what are the output ports here itself. Otherwise I can define or I can declare the input and output ports in the module creation. So like I can say that the ports, I mean the port list or the port declaration are present and are only related with the module. Okay, and these ports are to be interacted with the external environment in which they are surrounded with. For example, I am having here an SR latch. This SR latch is having inputs S bar, R bar, and output ports are Q and Q bar. So these input ports and these two output ports are responsible, and they are like related, and they are responsible to the signals which they are going to receive with the environment. Environment here is nothing but the surroundings in which this module is being surrounded with. Okay, so especially whenever you are going to define a module, there will be a 5 components in a module. So what are the 5 components here? We can see again declaration of wires or reg, that means variable declaration, and there will be some data flow statements like this. And of course there will be some structural abstractions which you can able to find. Apart from it, we will be seeing the task and function. Okay, that means these components can be in any order and at any place in your module. That means these all the 5 components can be placed in between the module and end module statements. There is no certain criteria that one should be come after the other. So all the components except module, end module, and module name are optional. That means they are fixed at particular place only, and the remaining components in the module can be placed anywhere. That is what it is, the definition we are going to get from here. Okay, so I am having here set and reset are the inputs of my SR latch, and Q and Q bar are the outputs of my SR latch. So let us see how the Xilinx program can be written for this one. Verilog program, how it can be written. That means for the module I am having the module name as SR latch. This is the one what I have kept here, and the port list or the sensitivity list is Q bar. That means these are the two output ports, and S bar and R bar are the input ports. So I don't know what are the ports here, so exclusively I have to declare them. So Q and Q bar are the acting as an output port, S bar and R bar are acting as an input port. So here I said that there are 5 components in the module. So it is like any of the component may be present or all of the components may also be present. It depends. It is our flexibility. It is not mandatory that all 5 components should be present in our design of module. Okay, definition of a module. So here what I am doing here, I am instantiating two NAND gates. So one NAND gate copy I have given the name as N1, and second is N2. That means these are acting as an identifier N1 and N2, by which I can identify two separate NAND gates. So these NAND are nothing but Verilog primitive gate. This NAND and NAND, because these are highlighted in the blue in color, which indicates that the compiler is already knowing its definition, and it already know that these are the primitive logical gates what the compiler understand, for which we no need to give exclusively the definition for this one, like module NAND so and so. No need to provide the exclusive definition. So NAND N1, NAND N2. Okay, and this is again the port list. In this way we can do it. And so let us see the test bench for this SR latch. So coming to the test bench, so SR underscore TB. So this design block is generally surrounded with an environment, that is top level module or a top level block, that is a test block SR underscore TB. I didn't mention here in the diagram, but you can easily understand that with the previous lectures. So SR underscore TB and wire Q comma Q bar. Wire Q comma Q bar, register, set and reset. Now inside my design block, inside my top level SR underscore TB, I am instantiating SR latch copy and giving that copy name as M1. So instantiating this is an instance, SR latch instance as M1. You can see here, and for this whatever the order I am maintaining, like first outputs are declared, next inputs are came here in the port list or the sensitivity list. Whatever the order I am following, it is same as how you have defined during your module SR latch definition declaration. That means here output ports came first, next input ports came last. In the same manner, during the time of instantiation or making a copy of SR latch also, the same port list order we need to maintain, like output first and input next. Okay, so here my two inputs are set and reset, for which I will be giving different input combination like 1011011100, and evaluating or checking what will be the outputs it is going to generate. Okay, so let me simulate the program. Yes. So keeping this waveform window aside, we will see how about the console window. somewhere, because in the console window we can are able to see all the input combination. Once we will check with this thing. Okay, dollar display, instead of dollar display I just give dollar monitor, such that I can see all the different input combinations, and again I can simulate the program. Yes, now I can able to see all the instances. That means when set equal to 0, reset equal to 0, initially q equal to x and q bar is equal to x, that means it is invalid. Okay, and when set equal to 1, s equal to 1, r equal to 0, q equal to 1, q bar equal to 0, it is following. When set equal to 1, reset r equal to 1, q equal to 1, q bar equal to 1, that means q equal to 1 and q bar is equal to 1 means, can I say it is an invalid output? Yes. And s equal to 0, r equal to 1, q equal to 0, q bar equal to 1, right? When set equal to 1, r equal to 1, again q equal to 1, q bar, it is also invalid. When set equal to 0, reset equal to 0, q equal to 0, q bar equal to 1, that means it is following the previous state output. So the previous state output is what? Set equal to 0, reset equal to 1, I have got the outputs as q equal to 0 and q bar is equal to 1. So these previous state output will be generated when set equal to 0 and reset equal to 0 condition. That means it is nothing but the truth table of SR latch. It is following, the output is following the truth table of SR latch. That is, when s equal to 0, reset is equal to 0, q and q bar status is acting as a memory element. And when s equal to 0, r equal to 1, q will be equal to 0 and q bar is equal to 1, like this. And when set equal to 1, reset equal to 0, we are having q equal to 1 and q bar equal to 0. And when set equal to 1 and reset is equal to 1, it is an invalid output we are getting. That means it is truly following the truth table of your SR latch in this way. Okay, the same thing you can observe in the simulation waveform window also. So these are q bar, these are the outputs, and the set and reset are the inputs here. So when set equal to 1, reset equal to 0, q should be equal to 1 and q bar should be equal to 0. In the next instance, set equal to reset equal to 1, invalid outputs, because both cannot be 1. So when set equal to 0, reset equal to 1, q equal to 0 and q bar is equal to 1. And again when set equal to 1, reset equal to 1, it is an invalid output. And when set equal to 0, reset equal to 0, its previous output, the register q and q bar will be holding. That means the q and q bar wires will be holding the previous values. Okay, so in this manner it is completely satisfying the SR latch truth table. Okay, so let us move back to our discussion of the modules and ports. So here, next, what is this port actually? These ports are nothing but they just provide the interface to the module and an environment. That means a module can communicate with environment only through the ports, which may be an input port or which may be through an output port. For example, you can consider an integrated circuit chip. Okay, so in your digital electronic circuit laboratory you might encountered with many number of IC chips. That means each and every IC chip is having input pins as well as the output pins. We call these pins as a ports. So the environment, I mean the surrounding, can interact with your IC chip only through the input output pins only. Okay, so the internals of your IC chip is not visible to the surrounding. I mean, I cannot able to see what, how, or how this IC chip is developed. That means I can say here the internals of the module are not visible to the environment, are hidden to the environment. Okay, so if it is hidden to the environment means the environment just see whether the functionality of the IC circuit is correct or not. It won't be taking any responsible whether the internal design is as expected or not, because the internal design I can design, it is up to my flexibility. Okay, I don't have any restriction that the design should be completely developed in so and so data abstraction level, like it should be developed only in the behavioral, or it should be developed in the gate level or data flow. I don't have any restriction. Internal design or internal development is up to, it is up to my work. Okay, so the internals of the module I can change without any consideration from the environment. The only the thing is the module have to give the required functionality, and this functionality will be checked by the environment. Okay, so these IO ports, that means input output ports, most commonly called as a terminals. Okay, so here during the time of a port declaration, what happens is all the input ports are written with a type of keyword, that is input, and output ports are declared with a type of keyword called output, and all the bidirectional ports which may be acting as an in-out ports are defined or declared, and it is of type in-out keyword. Okay, these are the things we should be cautious whenever we are writing the input and output ports. Okay, now let us see. I am having here full adder. If it may be a single bit full adder or a 4-bit full adder, whatever it is. So this design unit is being instantiated in a top level block, that is top. So in this thing you can observe that the top module doesn't exchange any signals with the environment because there are no ports in the list. The top module is there. This top module design doesn't have any ports that exchange information with its environment or with its surrounding. Okay, so consider now this 4-bit full adder, and it is instantiated inside your top level module top. Okay, that means here the module full adder is instantiated below top, and it is having input as well as the output ports. The input ports are A, B and C in, and it produces, that means this full adder module produces output on output ports, those are sum and C out. That means the module full adder performs an addition for its environment. What is its environment? Top is its environment. So the module top is the top module or a top level module in this, and it is acting as a simulation module, and this simulation module doesn't need to pass a signal to or receive the signals from the environment, because if top level, if I say this is my top level module, and I have also called it is my simulation module, so this simulation module is surrounded with its environment. But here the module top or the top level module, it is only a top level module in the simulation, and why do it require any ports, and why doesn't it does not need to pass any signal or to receive any signal from its environment? Because if it is surrounded with some environment, it definitely must have to receive or must have to send some signals to the environment, but it is at the only top level module, so it doesn't require any ports. But coming to here, this full adder is instantiated inside your top level module, that is the test bench or the simulation block. So this is acting as a simulation block, and this full adder is having the ports. So these ports definitely will receive or will send signals to its environment called the stimulation block. Okay, so you can see here in the example program, that is I'll show you with this one, Xilinx. Otherwise, yeah, notepad is preferable. So module top is there. So as I have said that, let me go with the definition. Module 4-bit ripple carry adder, okay, and ABCin are the input ports, and S out and C out are the output ports, okay. So it is 4-bit ripple carry adder, means 4 bits for A and 4 bits for B will be present, and the input there will be only one, it is a scalar quantity and it is a Cn. Output will be again S3, S2, S1, S0 like. So it is of 4-bit quantity and output C out. So in between I may have C1, C2, C3 as my intermediate carriers, okay. So for number of single bit full adder, I have to instantiate in the module definition of 4-bit triple carry adder in this manner. So 4 copies of FAB I have generated, and how the order I am following in here, it should match with the same order of the definition of your FAB. The definition of your FAB is present here. So inputs came first here, ABC, and next sum and carry, ABC, next sum and carry. So in this manner the port list should be present as how it was defined during the time of a module definition, okay. So whenever your full adder FAB is being called, the definition is present here. So in this definition, again ABC are treated as a single bit or a scalar inputs, and sum and carry is the scalar output. So the internals of your module is written in data flow abstraction level. So sum equal to AX or BX or C, and carry is A and AB plus BC plus CA. So this is how we generally complete the definition of the 4-bit triple carry adder. So after this one, this 4-bit triple carry adder is being instantiated inside some module, inside some top level block, that is top. This top is nothing but again here the test bench. This test bench is generating some signals. Those signals are capital A comma capital B, which is of vectors 4-bit quantity each. A and B are 4-bit, and it is also generating one signal called Cn. So these signals are passed through the ports of your 4-bit triple carry adder, and it will be observing the output that your 4-bit triple carry adder is going to generate through S out as well as C out signals. So these are the input signals that are driven into the module, and these two are the output signals that are collected from the output ports of your 4-bit triple carry adder. This is S out and this is C out. These all are the capitals, and these all are the small letters, okay. Don't get confused here. So I have to instantiate 4-bit triple carry adder. So let me keep the instance name as FA0. So A, B, C in, S out and C out. So that during the time of definition of 4-bit triple carry adder, how the port list order I have maintained in the same order, I need to again send the signals of my environment, that is A, B, C in, S out and C out. So A, B, C in, S out and C out. In the same manner I need to follow. So initial begin, Cn equal to 0, 1 bit bind to 0, A equal to 3, B equal to 5. After 5 seconds, I am going to change the value of A equal to 3 and B equal to 7, and I will be observing the output as through the ports S out, small s out and C out, and those will be sent or collected by the environment through the signals or the wires as S out and C out in this manner. So I can observe the output by using this $monitor statement. So this is how your port declaration or the port list will be, list of ports will be in how it is going to be instantiated inside your top level simulation block or test bench block. So during the time of port declaration, you might have wondered why sometimes I am using a reg and why sometimes I am using the wire. So this is the most common doubt, and at what places I have to declare the variable with type of reg, and at what time I have to use the declaration as wire for different variables. Let me give the clear idea on that. So all the ports are wire by default. So here what I would like to say is, input ports are normally declared as a wire. I'm talking about the module definition. And all the output ports will definitely going to hold their values. That is why they have to be declared as register. For example, in the definition of your module D flip-flop, so I want the output Q to retain its value. So this to retain, it will be retaining its value until the next positive clock edge. So if it has to retain the value, means anyhow wire or a net cannot retain the value because they are not acting as a storage element. So at this purpose or at this instant of time, I definitely have to declare exclusively the output Q with reg as a keyword. Okay, so you can see here also reg Q. And the ports of the type input cannot be declared as reg, because reg variables, like here reg q is there, they are used to store the values, but input ports are what? They are not storing the values, they are dynamic in nature. They simply reflect the changes in the external signals they are connected to. That means here you can see I am having A, B, C in. So if I keep A as reg A, reg B, reg C, if I keep, means I am doing a blender mistake here, because these I said that the reg variables are storing the values, but if the and the input ports should not store any values, because if it actually reflect the changes in the external signals they are connected with, as the simulation block is generating some external signals like a capital A, capital B, capital C in, which we have seen in the previous here in this example we have seen. So these capital A, capital B and capital C in are being generated externally to your 4-bit full adder or the 4-bit triple carry adder module. That means these signal are generated inside your top level or the simulation block. So the ABC in, they, if they should be or they must be declared by using a wire, or but at any cost we should not define or we should not declare this ABC in with the reg variable. ABC in cannot be act as a reg variable. Simply I can say that the input ports should not store values, as they reflect the changes in the external signals like a capital A, capital B, capital C in they are connected to. That's it. Okay, that is why we should be cautious whenever we are declaring input ports or output ports. Whenever you are writing or you are defining any module using the behavioral abstraction, the module output ports should be defined or the declared exclusively with the help of reg keyword. Reg should be definitely used. Next is port connection rules. So what are these port connection rules actually? So here I can visualize my input port, my output port in two separate units. That is, one unit will be present internal to the module and one unit will be present external to the module. So these internal as well as the external units, how they are going to be defined or how they are going to be visualized. Okay, so if it is treated as an input, for suppose internally, that means inside my module all the input ports are always should be of type net or wire. Okay, and in the output section or output port, internally output ports can be of type reg, because inside the module or as per the module all the output ports are treated as a type of reg. Okay, this is internally or as per the module or inside the module. But coming to external or outside of the module, I will treat the input port is of type reg, and I will treat my output port is of type wire. Okay, why I am going to treat it like this is, so I said you that in this 4-bit triple carry adder diagram, internally small a, small b, small c, they are defined as wires, and sum and cout they are declared as of type reg. But these ports, when I am seeing through the test bench or through the top module, that means each and every port I am visualizing in two units. One is internal to the module and one is external to the module. So internal to the module I have used as small a, small b, small c in, and the small sum and small c out. External to the module, this 4-bit full adder ports I have called as capital A, capital B, capital C in, and capital sum and capital C out. So during the time of capital definition, that means these ports, whenever they are visualized or whenever they are seen outside of your module, these A, B, C in are treated as reg, and these sum and C out are treated as wires. Okay, and whenever during the time of module definition or internal to the module, these A, B, C in are treated as wires and the sum and C out are treated as reg. So you can see here, so A, B, C in, that means it is this capital A, capital B are present inside the environment, that means it is external to the module, and C in, and S out and C out, these are external to the module or present inside the environment, so they are defined as wires and these are defined as reg. Coming to the 4-bit triple carry adder, this A, B, C in are present inside a module, so no need to define exclusively them with wire, like input wire, not required actually. So here whenever output S out and C out, so output reg I can keep here, reg I can keep 3 down to 0 S out, and output reg is C out also, this is also correct. Okay, so inside the module S out and C out are treated as a reg variables, and inside the module A, B, C in are treated as a wire variable. We can place, but it is not mandatory, I can say. Okay, in this manner we can be able to visualize the input as well as the output ports here. Okay, so what happens sometimes, width matching is also taking a high important role. That is, it is legal to connect internal and external items or signals of different sizes when making inter module port connections. Okay, so that means width matching should play a crucial role. Here 3 down to 0 A comma B I have used here. Okay, and here in during the time of test bench, instead of 3 down to 0, if I have 2 down to 0, I have written like that, it is illegal. Okay, and if I have written 4 down to 0, it is also illegal. So width matching is also playing a crucial role. And apart from that, sometimes what happens, I can let a port remain unconnected by instantiating a module. Like for example, if A comma B comma C in is there, I just skip writing the port B here. Okay, and if I skip writing the port B, it is also acceptable. The Verilog accepts this one also, but you have to maintain one space between two ports A and C in. That means these two ports should be separated with two commas. So in between I can skip. That means the Verilog compiler understand that there is some port that is skipped by the designer. That means the designer has kept in writing or mentioning that port name. Anyhow, the Verilog compiler will understand that, and it is compiling, and we can able to execute the code. We can able to simulate the code. So in this way, the port connection rules will be coming into picture. So the very next one is, so ports can be connecting ports to external signals. So I have mentioned that this 4-bit triple carry adder or 4-bit full adder is surrounded with an environment. This environment is nothing but it is a stimulus block or the test bench block. The test bench block is generating some signals A, B, C, N, and these signals are passed to the module through the ports A, B, C, N, small a, B, C, N, and the full adder 4 will be generating the output, and these outputs are passed through the output ports and summons C out. So through these output ports, these external signals will be collecting the outputs through these output ports, and it will verify the functionality of the circuit. So ports can be connected here like instantiated, I can say. Okay, the ports can be instantiated through the ordered list and through the names. That is, in the ordered list, what happens, connecting by ordered list is very common thing. That is, the signals to be connected must appear in the module instantiation in the same order as the ports in the port list during the definition of the module. So during the definition of the module, that is module full adder 4, this is the definition out of module. So during this time, what happened, the ports, that is some C out A, B, C in the port list has maintained some order, that is outputs first and next inputs next. So during the time of module instantiation, that is full adder 4, FA ordered. So FA order indicates that the signals, these signals are connected to the ports by position, by order. So the signals to be connected must appear in the same order, or must appear in the module instantiation as in the same order as like in the module definition, like outputs next inputs, outputs here next inputs next. So this is one type of connection, and the next type of connection is, for example, we are having many number of bigger modules. Bigger modules may have many number of ports, many number of input ports, many number of output ports may be present. So at some time, remembering the order of the ports during the module definition is impossible sometimes. For example, I may have AE A, G, I, K, L, M. So this order if I maintain, so I cannot remember this random order, right? So if I have written during the time of module definition, the port list, if I have written like ASC DJ like this. Okay, so the same order I may remember or I may not remember during the time of module instantiation. So for which I may have faced some troublesome process in remembering the order whatever I have maintained for the input ports or output ports. So at this time, what I do is, the Verilog here provides the capability to connect the external signals to ports by port names rather than by position, like A, S, C, D, J. So this is the position. These positions I cannot remember. So during this time, my Verilog will provide me the capability to connect these capital A, capital S, capital C, capital D, capital J signals to its port by port names. So I said you that these are, see, capital C out is a signal, this capital sum is a signal, this capital B is a signal, this capital A is a signal. So these signals are connected to the ports A, B, C in and C, sum and C out through the port names. That means C out and C out, sum, B, B, A. So At this time, what happens? Now I can specify the port connection in any order as long as my port name in the module definition is correctly matching the external signal. So in this way I can do the port connections either by ordered list or either by name, port names. So the next topic is hierarchical names. So what is this hierarchical name? We know that every module instance is definitely having some signals, or it is associated with some internal variables, or some identifiers may also be present, and some unique identifiers may also be present inside a module. Okay, so a hierarchical name is necessary. That means a hierarchical name have to be given to each and every identifier, a signal or a variable or a gate or any instance inside your module. The purpose of this hierarchical name is a hierarchical name is a list of identifiers separated by the dots for each level of hierarchy here. That means if I want to identify any identifier, there will be some process. Okay, so such that I can able to ping or I can able to point out a particular identifier through this process. So this process is nothing but hierarchical name referencing. So during the time of hierarchical name referencing, I have to start always with the root module or the top module anywhere or at any time. So for example, I am having here, let us say with I am having some identifiers q bar set and reset for my SR latch. Okay, this is the things. This is q bar and set and reset are the identifiers. Let me call them as identifiers. Of course, they are input output ports. So, but they are something in the module, right? So let me call them as identifiers. So inside my root module, I am instantiating. So what will be the root module here? The top module is the stimulus block. So this may be treated as a root module. I am instantiating a copy of SR latch here. Let me keep the instance name as M1. Okay, M1. So this which is again a module of SR latch. Now this M1 module is instantiating two NAND gates. One NAND gate is N1 and second NAND gate is N2. I have right here N2, sorry. So this instant during the time of instantiation, Q and Q bar, S and R are the port signals. So Q and Q bar here are considered as a port signals in instance M1. So if I want to refer each and every identifier, so how to refer each and every identifier? So this is the process. Of course, here it is my top level block, module stimulus, and so outside of the module, the input ports are treated as wires, the output ports are treated as, the input ports are treated as reg, the output ports are treated as wires outside the module. And inside the module, that is here, output ports are treated as reg, input ports are treated as wire. Okay, of course I am defining the module in using structural abstraction. That is why I didn't use the regq or regq bar. Okay, so you need to understand. But outside the module, the output ports are treated as wires, input ports are treated as registers. So wire q comma q bar, reg set comma reset, SR latch, M1 instantiation, q bar negative set, reset and set bar. So initial some module definition will be present here. Okay, so it is instantiating to NAND gates. So I said that each and every signal is some identifier. So if I want to refer some R, capital R here, how to refer? That is stimulus. I need to come from top level module. Stimulus is my root module. Stimulus. Inside the stimulus, I am instantiating what? M1, one instance name. What is this M1? It is actually a SR latch, of course. So stimulus, dot m1 dot r. In this way I am referring this signal r. So if I want to refer n1 here, that is NAND gate n1 stimulus dot n1. Okay, in this way also I can refer. If I want to refer q, because it is an identifier, so stimulus dot m1 dot q. Understand? So in this manner, so stimulus dot q and stimulus dot q bar, because these are q and q bar are the signals that are present outside the environment. That means they are not present inside your m1. They are not associated. They are associated only with the stimulus, only present inside the stimulus. So that means they can refer directly, right? Like stimulus dot q bar, stimulus dot set, stimulus dot reset, and stimulus dot m1. So these are the things present inside the environment. So inside the environment I am having m1 as SR latch module. So inside SR latch module I may have some signals. If I want to refer those signals, means again I have to come from the hierarchy, like stimulus dot m1 dot q, stimulus dot m1 dot q bar, stimulus dot m1 dot s, stimulus dot m1 dot r. In this manner again I have to come to the hierarchy. This is hierarchical reference, or referring anything hierarchically. So that's it for today's discussion. This is a brief a discussion on the modules and ports in the Verilog HDL. Okay, thank you for today.